Just to start off, what's the name of your company?
Jensen Services LLC.
Oh man. And I saw you start it 2 years ago, right?
Yes.
What made you want to start it?
Um, well, my dad was or is a business owner himself, and also I didn't really like the idea of working for somebody else exactly. I just
Hmm.
wanted to uh kind of go on my own path for a little while and just see what it was like really. Um, and I really didn't have I could say I did have a choice, but at the same time, I didn't really have a choice because there was a lot of medical issues going on in the background that kind of limited me to what I could do
Hmm.
exactly. So I, because I had a scholarship out to Kansas State for um, for $100,000, and
Wow.
um, and I those medical issues came up, and it, um, I couldn't go out there. So um, I had a surgery in actually probably about 6 months before I started the business,
Hmm.
um, and I I actually this is part of this is part of the symptoms, or this is part of like the problems that happen
Hmm.
after the surgery. I am still like trying to improve my speech and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But regarding uh, regarding my business, I started about 6 months after the surgery, and like that surgery was for seizures and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So um, it it definitely helped, but basically I with that I wasn't able to go back to college,
Hmm.
and I tried even going back to college on a scholarship
Hmm.
for the local community college, and didn't work. So, and I just ended up kind of um, dropping out and started a business because it was just like I really didn't know where else to go.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, and then pretty much from there, I worked at a place for a short time until I got about $3,000, and
Hmm.
then started up my business from there.
I know you said you don't really like working for people. That place you worked at, was that part of that motivation of being like, yeah, I need to go do my own thing?
Yep.
What was it? What were you doing?
Um. Well, uh, I was actually at a grocery store
Hmm.
uh, as a stocker.
Hmm.
So it and I mean not that I didn't like it. It's just there's some aspects to it that I mean, the thing is mostly too. I kept to myself because I also worked two other jobs meanwhile,
Hmm.
also, and it's just um, yeah. Sorry, it's that whole period is all like period of time's all um, it pushed together in my mind.
Yeah.
So it's like I worked at um, I worked at one place, and uh, it was a local grocery store, and then after that, I went to another local grocery store, and after that, I did stocking at Lowe's for a little while,
Hmm.
and then I really just couldn't find my way exactly into um, how I wanted to go about things really. So it's just, and then I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep going with this business, and it's just because I kind of already had things in mind before even starting the business anyway. Because
Hmm.
as I said, I had a horticulture a scholarship, so I was already planning on going out for horticulture. So I said, might as well just get into landscaping from here.
Yeah.
because it was just not it was not worth it. It was not worth it for me to try some other stuff because I knew I wasn't going to get much further in the other stuff. So,
Yeah, it's funny you mention that that's part of why you decided. I had a similar path where one of the
hmm
jobs I worked before I started my company was I worked at a prom dress store. Like not just a dress store, prom dresses.
yeah.
And I was a greeter. And I can remember the boss there was one of my biggest motivators because she did not allow any chairs in the
hmm
entire building. That was not allowed. There was one chair, it was in the break room, but she would check. She would come in and you could only be sitting on it if you were on break. And there's like 30 other workers. So
Sheesh.
you can't always sit. And
Yeah.
I just remember, like, I actually genuinely enjoyed the job because I was a young guy. And obviously, you're just talking to girls all day who are your age.
Yeah.
Um, but I just remember how mean I have this vivid memory that's still stuck in my head. One of my friends named Allison had been working there for 5 years. And I came in like in her fifth year working there.
hmm
And the owner knew who I was, would always remember my name, would always say hi. Allison, though, who's on her fifth year, I still remember they had dress girls, they called them. And what they would do
hmm
was their whole thing was they had to return the dresses. So girls would take like 10 dresses, they'd try them all on, they'd leave like 9 on a hook, and then the dress girls have to go put them back. So there was 5 dress girls, and she called them all over. She said, "Dress girls, come here." All the dress girls huddled around her, and she said, "Okay," and she gave them all direction. And then she looked
hmm
at my friend Allison, she went, "What's your name again?" And my friend Allison said, "My name's Allison. I've worked here for 5 years." And she went, "Oh, sorry. Yeah, can you go do this?"
Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
I watched that and I was like, wow. Like that is I don't even know. And the thing was I left soon after that.
hmm
I even asked for a raise and that got shot down. But again, like I wanted to work hard as I'm sure you did too,
Yeah.
but there was no
Yep.
pathway to be rewarded for that hard work, right?
Yep. Unfortunately not. And it's just like even then too, I still wanted to work hard anyway,
Hmm.
yeah, even if I was not getting paid a lot. I always wanted to make sure that I was getting things accomplished. So, yeah, I felt better about doing my work. And the thing is, you know, with the stocking, um, we would we would knock off 1,300 units off the truck a night,
Hmm.
and that was within 4 or 5 hours. And it I was the one mainly in the back of the truck throwing everything out. So um, it was pretty much, it was just like nobody else, I felt like nobody else was working there as hard as I was, you know. Um, and I mean, even some of the people were like, um, you're working really hard for a job that's not paying much. And I'm like, yeah, but also the only way you move forward is by working harder.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's really depending on your perspective, um, how you uh, how you move how you move forward, basically, or how you want to move forward and make yourself look. Regarding um, the regarding your uh, your work ethic. You want to set a work ethic for yourself, and when people when other people kind of impede on that, at for example, Lowe's, when I worked there, um, then it feels like it's not worth it working there.
Hmm.
And when you're not when you're not being motivated, you just want to leave.
Yeah.
Then, so and especially if you're not getting any more incentive to exactly be there, and it's just um, then I just kind of went about doing my thing, and I eventually got to a point, where I was doing a lot of things on my own. I was, you know, that's when I finally got full time into mowing, lawn care, landscaping, all that kind of stuff. And I was I was working, I'd say it was somewhere around 80 hours a week. Um, even and even while I had those other jobs, um, I was working up to 100 a week. So it's just I didn't really have um, much else I was doing. So um, my life kind of revolved around my business due to due to my medical
Mm.
issues. So I just kind of went straight from medical issues to life.
Yeah.
So, but because by the time things got solved there, I was already like, well, shoot, I got to jump into the workforce, somehow, some way. And eventually I just got down to working for myself.
So,
So,
so what made you go to landscaping? Had you done it before, or was this something you stumbled
well, pretty much, I mean, my whole life I've worked outdoors. I've always uh, with my problems that I was having, I I'm really I was really tight knit to my family. So whenever they'd be working outside, I'd be working outside, and I thoroughly enjoyed working outside. Um, we would whenever we'd be taking trees down and stuff like that, I'd be right there splitting wood,
with?
uh, even being 8 or 9 years old. So
Yep.
so I was thoroughly enjoying that. Even if I couldn't split a log to save my life. So, um, and then the other thing is I had thorough satisfaction just mowing. I really liked doing that, even if it was with a push mower. And the um, the thing that really drove me towards it is more of the fact that I just like being outdoors
Mhm.
rather than rather than being indoors overall. It's just I've always liked doing outdoor activities even too. So it just kind of the combination of things and the fascination I had with horticulture. Yeah, learning how everything grows and stuff like that, which um I had a passion for learning that too, how things grow, how things pretty much how things work in nature. And
Mhm.
I uh I just kind of grew it with my family, my knowledge of that, and then I went further into it um by middle school and by high school. I was thoroughly into it, while dealing with my medical issues.
Mhm.
It's just I then after that I just kept going. You know,
Mhm.
it I I got more and more into it, and I eventually set my path um, to horticulture, and that's when I got the scholarship, and then when everything that's when everything fell fell backwards, and I had to go get the surgery for my medical issues that was going on.
Mhm.
So you know that's where everything just kind of fell into place really. So
And when was the surgery since now? Was it like a year and a half ago?
well that was actually um that was that was a little bit before I started the business. It was, or well, I guess what should I, how should I put it? I was not in full, like, fully, uh, I was not fully formed yet
Hmm.
in with my business.
More of a side gig.
Um, yeah, it was kind of like a side gig at
Yeah.
the time. I went from I went from that to deciding, okay, you know what, I like this. I'm just gonna start something up fully in this. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to college, and you know, it just everything kind of just fell right, right into place. But yeah, and I ended up on my first year. I felt like I was doing pretty good, so
Hmm.
I just kept going, you know, and yeah, up until now, too. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much how things fell into place with my business.
And how did things go last year? Like, what would your normal schedule look like? What kind of services were you doing? Like, what did just last year look like?
So last year, and even to now, I've been trying to figure out scheduling,
Hmm.
and I never really had a great schedule down,
Hmm.
but I generally had Thursdays and Fridays. I go for mowing. Otherwise, I just do my own uh, do my own thing in landscaping or whatever I needed to do, or whatever customers requested of me because I kind of wanted to be the one-stop shop too.
Hmm.
Because uh, my father has uh, a carpentry business, and uh, I like carpentry also. So I kind of wanted a mix of handyman and landscaping. So I really worked on landscaping first, and then I started working my way into handyman stuff. And the um, I never like I said, I never really had scheduling perfectly down, but
Hmm.
for the most part, I still did pretty decent for um, last year. Um, I uh, I mean, I would say for the most part, I had about 2 days of landscaping per week,
Hmm.
so um, that was pretty much what I had going on there for that.
So was it really mow Thursday, Friday, then Monday through Wednesday, either landscape or handyman services?
Yeah, basically.
Cool. And rough, so how often do you feel like you were booked? Like out of five, because you were working Monday, Friday, right? That was your days you would schedule, or would you do weekends?
I did weekends too, yeah,
Okay.
because basically I was chasing whatever work I got into.
Hmm.
You know, what I meant chasing basically whatever work was thrown at me.
Okay.
So, whether it was handyman, whether it was power washing, or whether it was hardscaping or something like that, I had to, I'd always be up for it because I wanted to make the money to keep going forward.
How many hours a week would you say you were working on average?
At that time, it kind of fell to like 30 or 40,
Hmm.
but um, on some weeks too, I'd have up over 70.
Hmm.
And and it was just, and those were the weeks uh, that I had a lot of mowing to do because I was push mowing 40 lawns. So um, that definitely
I know
that
that
took a toll
feeling.
on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I landed myself in the hospital 3 times because of it.
Hey man, I did too. I herniated a disc.
Yeah, well, mine was more of dehydration. I got
Oh,
into serious
jeez.
dehydration.
How'd that happen? What'd that day
Prob
look like?
Well, those days were the days I was mowing. I would try and knock out a lawn per half an hour,
Hmm.
and it would be like up to 3/4 of an acre, I would knock out uh, within a half an hour, depending on how hard I was pushing.
With a
Yeah,
push mower, 3/4 of an
yeah,
acre.
yeah,
How big of a
yeah.
push
I was,
mower? Like 20, 21, 30? What are you working with?
I was working with a 21 inch.
Wow.
It was just the thing was is uh, there wasn't like a whole lot to on like that third of an acre or whatever.
Mhm.
There wasn't a whole lot to uh, exactly mow. It was
Mhm.
more of mowing the right area, mowing the areas that I knew I could mow,
Mm.
and then running around weed whacking.
Yep.
And I knew with the weed whacking, I could just get through. I could blast right through them
Mhm.
because what I had on my mind was, shoot, I got 8 more lawns to go,
Mhm.
and I've only got this time left, so I needed to keep moving, especially when I was by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, man, that was a lot of work, but yeah, within 2 days, I would generally complete them all.
Yeah.
And I mean, that would mean sometimes, and because here's the thing, that those hours per week, sometimes those hours per week would be pushed into uh 2 days,
Mhm.
2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
So it was like at least 10 hours a day I was
Mhm.
running the mower. So that would be, and that's what I mean is like my hours would be very different.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is some of those lawns were biweekly. So,
Yeah. Long.
but for the average, I had about 40.
Gotcha.
So it was, yeah, that was a lot of work, and I landed myself in the hospital plenty of times. And, uh, they call it rhabdo. I had that 3 times.
Rhabdo?
Yep, basically, it's when you don't drink enough water, you get protein in your blood,
Mm. Okay.
and that's what that would be. What would it would pretty much debilitate me,
Mhm.
and it was not good considering that I was on seizure medicine due to my surgery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot went into that. I pretty much jumped right
Yep.
in. And it was it definitely took a toll on me.
Yeah.
So
And what changes
yeah,
have you made since?
since then I'm trying to. I guess I should say I'm trying to make changes, but also I don't have the same clientele I did the first year. A lot of businesses here in Delaware have popped up since then, and yeah, I have a lot of competition out there,
Mhm.
and I've been wanting to raise my prices, but I also want to, um, but I also want to get customers.
Mhm.
So, you know, I've lost uh, I've lost the schedule flow because of the lack of customers. Because I'm trying to find the balance between raising my price
Mhm.
and keeping the customer base,
Mhm.
and also being able to pay my bills,
Mhm.
and then also trying to put in something for profit.
Yeah.
And um, as I told you, the first year, or not, but when I was messaging you, I I had made uh, within the first year by myself, I had from $3,000, I had racked up $28,000 in expenses.
Wow.
So, um, and I only made my my accountant told me I only made $250
For the whole year.
for my income. Yep,
Wow. So what
because
why do you think that was?
well, my pricing was low
Mhm.
for sure. Things were taking longer than expected.
Mhm.
Yeah, and these things, I we'll put it this way: I I really hated at first, and then I expected it, and then at the same time, I was like, why am I not charging more? And I would have this runaround in my head of why am I not charging more? Why are these customers not accepting this price?
Yeah.
Um, and then and then I realized there's all these people bidding lower than me, and then I'm like, all right, well if I bid lower, I'll get more customers, but also I'll wear myself out, and then I'm not making enough money to keep myself going. When I know I could go for those higher bidding jobs, it's just it's going to take a lot of confidence in me to know I'm going to do the right, yeah, or and confidence in myself to do a good job for them.
Hmm.
So I never wanted to bid too high because if something went wrong, I felt like it was kind of like, well, you asked for a lower price, so you're gonna get a lower
Hmm.
price quality. And I mean, or not like intentionally, but more of just like the way I communicated with people and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I was more of like, all right, I'll get to your loan. And in my head, I'm like, it's only $30. Like,
Hmm.
come on, because I mean, on in general, I was charging about 30 to $35 a lot,
Hmm.
and um, and that would be even with with up to even a half an acre,
Hmm.
I would be charging 35, and that would be with push mowing.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, I had a lot that I was thinking about, and then with everything that went on with the push mowing, I ended up dropping my customers in the middle of the year
Hmm.
eventually,
All of
and
them or just a couple?
uh, probably about 75% of them. That was after that was like my third strike of rhabdo, and I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I've had enough. I can't do this, and you know, for the price I was getting for these lawns, because these lawns in total were bringing me in about, I'd say it was around, I think I calculated about $700 to $800 a
Hmm.
week.
Hmm.
And keep in mind, that's the price of the lawn.
Mm.
So that's not including my expenses um, from my mower. That's not including expenses for my truck.
Yeah.
That was just how much I was charging
Yep.
and how much I was coming out with.
Yeah.
It was just like, and I felt like it was a never ending loop. And I needed to sit back and reevaluate things. And I never really got the time for it because your bills don't stop.
Yep.
So I had to quickly jump into something else. And I was just like, all right, well, I'll just run into landscaping.
Hmm.
And ran into landscaping. And just, uh, I pretty much just did that for a while, just constant landscaping. But I definitely was not getting what I was money wise, um, what I was getting with mowing.
How did that go with the customers when you dropped 75% of them? Did you get a backlash? Did you get people understood?
People understood
Hmm.
because I made them well aware of problems that I had before.
Hmm.
Because I didn't, with them taking me on, I wanted them to understand for this price,
Hmm.
you're getting me working hard, but also you got to understand too, with them, telling them that they got to understand that some days I may just not be able to make it out.
Hmm.
And that was part of the quality of, you know, the mowing, whether I'd be able to make it out some weeks or not.
Hmm.
And this was still when I was learning, and I still am, just like everybody. You're learning every day. but um, the the main thing is I pretty much, for the most part, pretty much customers understood
Mhm.
my situation and accepted my price. And I mean, I guess I did have a little bit of backlash, but it wasn't like I kind of just brushed it off because I knew it was coming.
Yep.
So I was just like, well, what am I going to value more right now, my health or my customers? And unfortunately, without my health, I'm not going to be able to serve my customers.
Hmm.
So it's just like it was kind of just like I was depleting myself for making nothing.
Yep.
And until I fixed those prices, I wasn't going to get anywhere, but probably end up even deeper in medical problems. And it was just going to lead down more paths that were just going to mess me up. So I had to definitely rearrange how I did things. Um, and like I said, I'm still working on that as of now. And it's just, and I don't even know if I'll have it down fully this year. But, it'll get to that point sometime, I'm hoping. But,
So looking into the future then, let's look 5 years ahead. Let's go really
mhm,
far out.
yeah.
Where do you want, what do you want your company to be and where do you want it to be in 5 years? If everything
So in
went
five,
right and you did everything you had to.
um, so in 5 years, I honestly still want to, um, I want to be basically the one-stop shop to doing any handyman work these people need in doing their lawn care and doing their landscape.
Hmm.
And um, I mean, I feel like because now I've gotten to a point where at least I've handled one situation in every aspect of um, the handyman thing and uh, one aspect in every bit of lawn care.
Hmm.
And then same thing with landscaping. And I feel like those areas, if I perfect it to be those areas and not specific to one thing, I could have consistent business throughout the year instead of having to charge, a lot for my lawns
Hmm.
too. So I factor in all of that, and I'm trying to, and the, 5 years from now, I'm still trying to decide whether I'd even possibly set a yearly service fee to have a contract
Hmm.
to be able to be on service call and do their lawn care and landscaping. So I have them on full lockdown on every corner of things. So
Hmm.
yeah, and I mean, and who knows? The other option I might have is I might split it off into two different companies at
Hmm.
that point, where I might have handyman, and then I'll have landscaping, and they'll be solely two different things. So that way, I have things a little more organized.
Hmm.
So that way, insurance doesn't get mixed up. Yeah, and that way things might flow a little bit better, and I can also just um I guess run just be able to do both things at the same time because I one thing about me, I do not like doing the same thing over and over and over and
Hmm.
over again. So as much as it that's good for perfection, I also would like to see some wood walls and instead of seeing green grass every
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
day. So for me, it's the variety that I like.
Cool.
So and but at the same time, landscaping is surely my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So
hey, we got about 5 more minutes, so I got my last
mhm
question for you because I want to respect
mhm
your time. So we talked about 5 years where you want to be, and you kind of want to be a one-stop shop. people can basically just contact you and they're covered
Mhm.
for the whole year, whatever that looks like
Yep.
in the future. What changes do you think you need to make this year? Not to make that happen next year, but to just get a step closer this year to that. What are like your top 3 priorities and changes you're going to be making this upcoming year?
My pricing, I'm definitely gonna make a change to, one. And then two, I um I want to uh I want to kind of expand my, or well, let's put it this way. Um I want to organize my scheduling and make it more suitable towards taking on multiple customers a day.
Hmm.
Um as of right now, I only deal with like one customer a day. Um
Do you currently use a CRM?
no.
How are you scheduling?
I am just using my count on my phone, and that's about it.
Okay.
Um, and then uh, the other thing I would like to move towards is, um, I guess, kind of having a routine every week,
Hmm.
and that's pretty much it's basically scheduling and the and and adjusting my hourly wage and adjusting how much my company makes.
So really,
So
it comes down to pricing, scheduling, and better structure for your own personal life.
yes, yep.
And how are you gonna? What is your plan to improve those 3 things this year? Like how? What's the actual action steps you're gonna take for each?
Well, I've been I've been trying to do some calculations, um, hypothetical calculations
Hmm.
as to where to put my expense rate at. But I also hope that based on what I was based on what I was spending, uh, not like the first year I did my taxes, but the second year,
Hmm.
um, I plan on trying to basically make my make my wage, adapt it to the monthly expenses
Hmm.
with putting aside a certain amount of money per month,
Hmm.
you know, to make sure I am okay. That if something does happen, I do have enough money put aside. So because one thing is, I ran into this, you know, with basically nothing,
Hmm.
and I come out of it with um, with a a shed now, and a mower and all that, and now I have to. And when I mean a mower, I mean I also have the zero turn of a 52-inch zero turn.
Hmm.
So, I also have to deal with paying for that. So, and keeping up with the maintenance on that. And that's also the other thing is factoring in maintenance costs and all of that, and trying to really, I guess, analyze my expenses
Hmm.
well too. So that's pretty much where, I mean, right now it's a lot of calculations, saying what is successful with a customer and what is not successful with a customer. And the problem with where I am is there's a lot of people on one side of the of the pay scale, and there's a lot of people on the other side of the pay scale. So like being some people are running on fixed income, and then some people are living the life.
Hmm.
So it's um it's very hard to try and find that
Yeah.
right now. So that's what I'm trying to really work.
All right. And how about
But I
scheduling?
think I'll be able to. Sorry, what?
Oh, sorry, Sid. So how about scheduling?
Scheduling, since I am on my own right now,
Mhm,
at the very same time, and this is where I got to find my balance, is since I am on my own, I realize I also have to make room for me to be like, okay, this job is going to maybe take a day long because I'm by myself, as in comparison to having two people may only take a couple of hours. And the uh, the other thing is I am still trying to perfect my ways of doing things so I can better organize how or organ or uh, better uh, estimate how long things are going to take me.
mhm,
So um, like say I am running around raking leaves versus blowing them.
mhm,
One's going to take less time than the other. So um, and the what I'm trying to work up towards right now is a leaf vacuum and and a dump trailer, and those are two major investments by themselves. So um, you know, I have a long ways even to go on that, let alone I'm already trying to break even with my business. So it's just it's a lot of things going a lot of directions. My head is going in a lot of directions,
mhm.
and I right now I'm really I'm really trying to figure out um, I'm trying to figure out overall I'm trying to figure out a medium between the three, between three things: my pay, how many hours I work a week, and uh, and and being able to save some money. So it's just I feel like it's going to be an ongoing battle, but that's what I aim for this year.
Cool. Well, hey man, I'm really happy that you shared your story with me. I think
Hmm.
that's really cool that you've just been able to, get past all those medical issues, and obviously you're still dealing with them, but you've just made it so far. Your business is, you're going through the growing pains, but we all went through that. I remember one year, our first year, we were at an effective rate of $5 an hour. So don't feel bad. That was a tough year for us. Um,
What year was that?
2020.
Oh.
Two guys, me and my friend who started the business together, were a partnership. We were both
Hmm.
working 50, 60 hours a week and managed to do 60,000 for the year. I did the math. We
Wow.
made $5 an hour for the amount of hours we put in. So
Yeah, how many hours were you putting in a week?
50 to 60 each.
50, 60. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, but it's just growing pains. Yeah, man. Well, hey, like, let's stay in touch. I'm really excited to see like what you do this year, and just see you
hmm.
overcome those things.
Yeah, of course. All right. I appreciate you reaching out to me too.
Of course. Well, hey, Connor, thanks again, man. Have a good rest of your
Hmm.
day, and good luck
Yep,
this
you too.
season.
Yep, you too.